I'll fix your number. Yeah, everything should be.
Oh, not too bad. Sure. What are you trying to do anyway? So next week. Next 2 weeks. On Saturday. Saturday. So I'll be here on Thursday, next Thursday. You know, so I'll be there on Friday. That's it. Okay. All right. That'll be great. Yeah. Imagine how hard it is to talk about. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Okay, great. We're just waiting for the groups to come in, and then we're going to have the reports from each group. The facilitators will be making a report of the discussions. So if you just bear with us for a few more minutes and we'll get to the reports. Can I invite people to take their places? We're going to get the group discussion reports. We have to vacate this place early because they need to change this room into a banquet setting that's starting at 6 tonight. I would like to ask the facilitators to join me here, up here, please. If I can have the facilitators up here. I'm going to call on the group number 1, Scandia Room. The facilitators are Anne Marie, Kakagamic, and Pearl Mamakwa.
Wajik, Ujo, Ani, me. Wajam kuna eko mangi mamo na bagay naon. Magyan mo chakatek pan nananga kimina kwa kagotonan. Chakana pa chakategan. So we're gonna have a quick. How long do we have?
Well,
5 minutes.
two or 3 minutes.
Okay, 3 minutes in the go. So I'm going to do a quick rundown on the responses that we have for question number 1 and number 2, considerations on the community engagement process, and also if it's number 1 relating to the 33 communities as well. So we had a few comments on that piece and the recommendation. So one of the comments that they've identified with if it's possible to do it is that there needs to be some good planning on that piece as well. They stated that some communities are large in size, populations are diverse, and also there's different considerations to community events and stuff like that happen in the communities. There's a belief that we can make this work. If we work together, this process can move forward. So in consideration on that piece, we also talked about the data analysis piece is very important. So that needs to be kept and also be upgraded and moving forward. There's a focus on a piece on child and community events as well. So that needs to be in consideration. And also we also talked about to keep in mind the community population events. I talked about it already. And also in planning the engagement session, this could be a natural and unnatural events as well. So another thing that was a key point also in this discussion that we had was that we need to highlight and illuminate and make what SLFNHA is, its role, and its intent, and kind of services it provides. So that needs to be well versed and kind of communicate with the communities as well. So so they have an understanding of what that is. Another key piece in that area is a knowledge building in areas and treaty learning as well, and treaty building, and having an education platform in that area. Miyan again mo chakate kanan wan machine at non geki mama ne chakate kapanan wan communicate chiki mache wana chakate kanan on moyam with mache chakate ku an kyun. Yeah, recommend que eu masters que ni que tipo não ia eu estava com ni health transformation ga chakatek recommend ko execution ka ta mo pa nan shino gnen no ko ni hiwa mayam ga chakatek. So there needs to be a well-defined information and knowledge piece on health transformation as well. Miwa je kitian hiwa baba sa chakeni ma bakat nan ga ki ni pete winta mo ma ga ki witan ki ma kumachna. Miigwech.
Thank you very much, Anna Marie, for your group. That's a report from Scandia Room participants. Now, the second group is the yellow room, James Morris and Carla Duncan. Where's James Morris and Carla? Oh, here. Okay, Carla, you're going to make the.
Easy for you.
Hi, good afternoon. We begin in Gayamton. So our group, we did a point form. So we said, well, the people we were with, they said for that person, who's doing the community engagement to know the community, to do the job, to do it quickly, efficiently, know both languages, engagement in both languages, because there's lots of people in our communities that are fluent in our language. And there's also lots of our youth and young adults that only know English. To hire somebody from the communities, hire local people, advertise the position, SLFNHA and health directors to do the screening for the job position. How to gauge where we are at. So every community is at a different level in their health planning and programming. Community representation, tribal council, SLFNHA, to be all involved. Include all ages. Children can draw pictures too. So what James was saying was he wants to hear from all our community levels. So that includes our children. They share a lot. So we could train those workers. The community people, they'll be working with us and we could train them. Finding the community champions was shared. So there's always a community contact that works well in with different programs in the community. Somebody shared control emotions, not respond negatively. So just to listen and I don't know, just take criticism well, I guess. Number of workers may vary by community size. So like there's Muskrat, we probably would only need maybe 2. And then whereas KI would probably need a lot more. Like a diverse group of people, hire a diverse group. So somebody that works well with children, another person that could work with the elders and adults. Considering the layout of the community, so like KI, he was sharing different parts of the community. Like one person can focus on one part. Have home visits and engage each household. So just concentrating on each household as you're going through the area. Flexible hours. So you can do an evening session, having a fire with youth and whatever, like having focus groups. Out of community members off reserve, because there's lots of our community members that are living off reserve for school, education, or health, or no housing. A variety of formats to contact people like Zoom, social media, surveys. So everybody has their own way of communicating. Jurisdictions, federal, provincial. Translation, make sure there's translating. To have feasts, one with elders, one with adults, one with youth, children. Considering funding too, like who's gonna fund this project? Is it gonna be from SLFNHA or is it gonna be from the community? Working outside the box too. So not just conforming to that project. You could get different programs to help this project. Engage community partners in health. We need a name for this, community engagement. Include all people that live in the community, not just members. So there's some of our communities have non-Indigenous members in our communities. Okay, that's it. Mia, thank you.
Thank you very much, Carla. Go to group number 3, Icelandic room, Stan Wesley.
Thank you for the applause, everybody. Appreciate it. So we are the Red Group. And after spending half the time talking about our name, we decided that our name's going to be reminiscent of love. So we decided on calling our group the Gimuch Red Team. A little bit of forbidden love coming our way. Really pleased to be here. I want to thank our group. I want to acknowledge the co-facilitator, Christine, Lorna, and Kim for doing amazing work capturing the ideas. The first question was the question on, can we do this in 1 year? We had 8 people fanatically do this. We had a couple of people do this. And we had 5 people do this, if you know what that means. So a few of the things behind the rationale, because I thought, if people are answering no, it's nice to have a little bit of a voice on why they're saying no, just to give people a chance to explain to us why they're feeling as if that this is a difficult process to do in 1 year. A few people mentioned, for the most part, that it would be rushed to do it in 1 year. But again, the reflection of the group, a majority, was yes, we could do it. But we also wanted to give voice to the ones that felt like we couldn't do it. So thank you to all of those who answered. In terms of question number 2, what do we need to keep in mind to run a community engagement process? People mentioned we need to respect everybody in the community, make sure everybody has a voice, to the very young people, to the youth, to the women, to the adults, to the elders, to everybody, and not just leadership. With that being said, we also need to keep in mind that we can't just maybe hire one person. We need to hire people that works really good. For example, let's have a youth working with youth. For example, that would be a wonderful, wonderful process there. Incentives are good, but we need to be mindful of incentives. One of our elders, Emily, mentioned at the beginning that West Scotch years ago, whenever there was a meeting, everybody showed up because they cared about the process. Nowadays, things are different because everybody wants something now. So we need to be aware and we need to generate interest from the ground up and get people excited about the process and not just giving away a boat or a snow machine or an iPad. And the way we do that is perhaps to make it into a community process. It's okay to have 33 different processes out there to reflect the interest, the customs, the different ways of doing business in every single community. There's nothing wrong with having 33 of those processes in the community. We need to communicate and promote eloquently in all languages and dialects. And with that being said, we talk about best practices, and Deputy Grand Chief Victor mentioned if we keep in mind everybody in every single community, then we start bridging this new concept called wise practices. It's not just a best overall practice, it's a wise practice in every single community and every single age bracket within our community. So that was wonderful. Okay, and we also talked about community engagement is not also engaging in the community. We can also engage out on the land because people tend to think best and are at their best when they're on the land. Very quickly, we're wrapping up here. We need to change the perception over surveying. Important to have community workers and support. So we can't just have somebody come in Monday to Friday and leave, and then we'll see them again in a couple of weeks and they're out of there. We need to hire up within the community. So it's not just a Monday to Friday thing. It's a 7-day-a-week thing. There's stuff happening weekends. There's some happening on holidays. There's this stuff happening all the time. A couple of questions that were asked is how do we get feedback from the community process? Really quickly before we wrap up. Let's see here. Youth is good there. Perfect. Wise practices. Awesome. Let's see here really quickly. And one of the things that we talked about at the end here was really neat. And we spent a lot of time talking about this. And I may need somebody to come up or take a microphone and to translate, but maybe the engagement word is not the correct word for this process. If it means something meaningful like health transformation, we need to have more of a word in the language that people will truly relate with. And in our group, we felt as if that the term visiting in the language would be a better word to use rather than engagement. So there's different dialects out there. We talked about this lots as a facilitation team. Get ready to laugh because I've been saying it wrong. Feel free to laugh at me. That's okay. But we talked about Kiyukewin. Did I say that right? Kiyukewin, visiting. Okay, so we talked about that would be a good word from our group on the engagement process is about visiting. And when we visit people, we're welcoming people, we're feeding people, we're listening to stories, we're showcasing our best. And what is our best? Health transformation. Red group, miigwech.
Thank you very much, Stan, for your report. Viking Room A, Charles Mikas and Susan Chapman. Oh, there he is. Yeah, come on.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just have one question before we begin. Can you guys tell me what this is? Anybody want to guess? Spider on a mirror. Very good. Miigwech, Gidin Nawa. Mauje Exchine de Manuel Anhuun. Egochke Kegunen Kagawetman da and Shinig Jigipis down Dobbin. Miigwech Dinag mainly Matthew. I don't know where he is. Miigwech Kedunen you went on Gegunen Gag win the motion. So can I see the notes? So the first question that I asked, right, was, is it possible to do the engagement process? And what I found very interesting was with some of the questions, there were more questions that arose. And I think that's a really good thing, right? So one suggestion was, is it possible to have one or two, workers in the community to kind of lead this process, right? And there's a frustration with terms, consultation and engagement, right? Because this is just one thing that I shared that, the government always says we're going to consult and engage with you, but they still do what they want in the end, right? And the one really important thing that came out of this was it's impossible. Somebody shared that they've been engaging with 6 communities at it for over 1.5 years, and it's difficult to get people to speak up because community members will always only share, what they see and what their experience has been with the healthcare system in the community. And I kind of shared that we can probably have an approach where similarly to what Stan Wesley's findings were, is get narratives and stories, right? Because That's cultural. And so the other really important thing that I found was we need to do a lot of promotion and community awareness. And this is not according to kind of what we talked about. This is not a 1 week process, not even a 1 month process, right? Because a lot of the information that filters down in community a lot of times doesn't reach quote unquote regular Joe. That's the word that we used. Okay. And the other thing was, you know, if we do all the households, right, can't be done in a year. You need to have the finances ready as well. And so some group members shared that we can speak the language, and also we tried to hire people from each community, but it was difficult, right? And the suggestion was come up with 20 teams and they travel, right? And there was an example, the major failure with education jurisdiction. You know, we didn't have the binder. Someone has to make a very simplified info binder that those people can travel, take with them, and share with the communities, right? And also, what do you do with second level agencies, you know, nurses, doctors, and then the funding and look at different structures. So there was some really interesting things from there. Another finding was do it from the community. They develop their questions and their own process, right? And from the grassroots level, as long as there is direction, if we have community-based workers, you know, depends on the size of the community, small 1 or 2, larger 2 or 3, right? So we were really looking at the everyday processes, right at the grassroots level. And also, right, this is really true. There will be people that won't like the person that's working, right? The community dynamics. So there should be more than one worker, right? I know that some of the work that I've done, let me just share this, that there are people that don't like me, but I try to like them back. So decisions from the community, set of questions. We have the elders and the community people, systems of infrastructure from different people, right? This is at the community level. And I think a lot of you know, when you do some work in community, there are these different processes in the community that are not overtly visible. And I only say this because I had experience doing a census, one for the government and one for the community. I had to go door to door. A couple doors were slammed on me. Okay. The next question was, okay, we have it in point form. What do we need to keep in mind for engagement processes? Respect for local custom, participation of all age groups, same interpretation for all age groups, advance notice of what, when, where, and why. And again, a lot of communications, like to promote this process. And there was a fair bit of confusion, right? Again, some questions with the question that was being asked. The summit is to find out how community engagement is going to work, right? And so somebody wants me to speak up. Frank, at tribal council, Nan, there are all these different organizations asking the communities similar questions, right? And communities feel they're getting confused, right? Who's doing what? Because it seems like they're all doing the same thing, right? And Nan should be spearheading this and leading it, right? Because they are the ones negotiating, and that they provide some of the flow through funding, right? And all the tribal councils were given funding to do what we are supposed to. And just one thing I wanted to share. As a facilitator, there are times there are questions that I feel that I don't have the authority to answer. And so that puts me in an awkward situation. And it does not move the conversation along, right? Because then I'm at a wall and I cannot move that conversation along, right? So the end, final answer.
Thank you very much, Charles. Now, for last report, Viking Room B, Lynn Murray. Okay, we have to vacate the room very soon, I have been told. Okay, so.
Yay. Ever shaky up here. Okay. All right. So I was really lucky because I thought I was going to have to do this alone. But then Emma came. Emma was the translator, and I had Emily do the recording, and Nia helped us with the flip chart. So that's really great. We had about 17 people in our circle, and everyone pretty much said something. Maybe not one, I don't know. But it was really, we had an interesting start because one of the questions was, I would like to know exactly what engagement, what does it mean? It's an English word. And, it was like, that was a really good question. And I don't know if we got around to answering it, but it was like, I had to put it back and I just said, well, what do you want? What do you want? And everyone had something to say positive. At first, there was some confusion about what engagement looked like, and should it have a framework? Should it be a process? And they wanted to know, like, well, what does SLFNHA do? We have to know the programs and services. And I'm just like, no. You don't have to know programs and services. What we want to know is how you see your community conduct health in your community. So I'm trying to read here. I can't read with my glasses and I can't read without them. So there was some talk about framework. There was talk about the need for the community to understand what engagement was from SLFNHA's point of view. And there was wanting of an implementation of a process and timelines. And I'm just like, no, let's take that out the window. Let's just think about how you think it'll work. And we need the input from all the people. with engagement, it's going to probably take longer than a year. There was mention, it was that, well, maybe it'll take 2 years, maybe 3 years. And that sort of got us off that point about what SLFNHA wants. How long will it take for the community to do this, for the community to feel confident and build trust? And that was a really important word in our circle, was to build trust with all the different age groups. So let me see. Yeah, not just one visit. And it's not the visit to be down here, but to do 5 to 10 visits in the community. So it was even outside of the parameters of what we brought forward, you know? It was just like, okay, we need to do more. Do you want to add to that?
And then start from the school.
Yeah. Another suggestion was that we need to contact all the age groups. So starting from the school, you know, little kids know what their needs are when it comes to health, but also so do the youth, and so do the adults, and so do the elders. And all the wisdom comes from the elders. So there was a focus on elders' input. So the team, do you want me to go? Okay. The team actually, it kind of looked like this, that there would be a couple of facilitators and maybe 3 technical people. So 5 people at the community level who were already living in the community, who are frontline service workers in the community, to be able to do the sort of like a survey, go house to house, go activity to activity. There was mentions of different activities, like having fitness, doing an engagement with fitness or dance, or doing engagement with different practices, whether it was land-based or if it was something that brought the community together. You can't pull it up like this. You put the mouse here. I can't do it. Okay. You said in Ojibwe.
Okay, ja igagi ja ishagan tebean toginis tohtansina iwe gagisga gochman toganin chigiken the march mabego ottawa no kegonen ento march and gagi torchga tegven egagante begaginis tohtamaj egotas gitota men emegotska wetra kagi ya biango te peji gish ga gwechmanan aninen the march ke vino ke gistorch ga tegven nissen de go gai ki na kwestan siog ego tas gana ga gistorch iwe kakkena bego endas be peji go chawia she ga gwechma ga nufpanani nation den the march gistorch ga tegven iwe I così meccigen mi gaikitoj awashagani akonagani ano bone archke gat mi mage gonchimat segman ega gweten ega synagogue etta beishgo echgistoj gat egvan machino ege mameta so akonagi beishgo bon Kanina getta beishgo gishga iwe gishaaj kinoish konochi machi arch ke ma beishgo tohte ke ma beishgo gises meta sota shej tochgate beishgo be bonan and the gishkitwag ego geya igi gishkitwag megach iwe nagishkotat na nange kun ko in tochgate ke ma kaotameno tuach ko imatawening chigisto tuach.
Elders visits, and did you talk about the different places to go door to door?
Ego gaya kema igenog kegi ina noch ki in daban chigi kagi otte open kaistan on ki kochigi aisha open igenog chigi and the kochma open ega gagas tuach genog chi jarch magash nagskotat nanong miga ikituach igana gegch actually nan daban dachgi ka kochman da yeah actually awash shag oh gaba bam dach kana bogot awiya chga ne chega awiya chunche anso na gana chma iwe me got stooch gatek
Sorry. What did we forget? Did I forget anything? There was one suggestion that there be more involvement of chief and council. And it was just like, that was an interesting statement. But it was also noted how difficult it is to have general meetings. And so instead of having general meetings, it's having more activity-based happenings where you can ask questions. And that was a really neat thing. Somebody said, something about an ask list from the community level that you get from the frontline workers they're the ones who are trusted by the community. So they're the ones who develop the questions, who develop what needs to be shared. And the community is more willing to share once they have trust, and that when they know that the things that they ask for will be implemented. Mia. Mia.
Thank you very much for that report. You've heard the 5 reports. And all these things will be recorded and reported on with the staff. So you'll have a version of it later. So with that, that concludes our day. I've been asked to ask everybody to make sure you take all your stuff. They're going to clean this room out. And I'd like to say the place is going to be open at 5:30. They're going to start with the drum here at 5:30. 6 o'clock, you have the banquet, and we'll have you out of here by 8 o'clock this evening. So, and come and enjoy a meal. So with that, we are adjourned for the day. 8:15 breakfast, 9 o'clock we convene. Thank you.